Town, a weekly program featuring community events happening in and around Northeast Michigan, with your host, Nancy Smitham, and get the latest from Alpena Community College with Dr. Don McMaster. And now, today's Talk of the Town.
Good morning and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Nancy Smitham. My first guest today is Jeffrey Mindock from Thunder Bay Theater. Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Nancy. How are you?
Good, and you're having a crazy summer.
As always, it's our favorite time of the year.
Oh, man, and you just got off of the record-breaking Mamma Mia.
Yep, we sold out every single performance. It probably helps that we only did 5 of them, but I'll take what we can get.
Oh, yes.
So we finished Mamma Mia. We did 6 shows in 4 days, including our performance over in Alpena, and now we are in rehearsals for our last show of the summer, Carousel by Rodgers and Hammerstein.
Ooh, I can't wait to see and hear about Carousel.
Easy for you to say.
Hammerstein and Carousel together.
Yes,
okay, so
absolutely.
tell me all about how it's going to appear at Thunder Bay Theater.
So this is the classic musical that everyone knows.
Yes.
Tons of movies, lots of productions have been done. Everybody's favorite songs, If I Loved You, June is Busting Out All Over, Children Walk Alone, and it's just that classic fairy tale. We're very excited about this production because we've brought in a guest director from Central Michigan University, Dr. Annette Thornton, and we have a wonderful music director as well, just off of Broadway, Lauren Widner. So there's a lot going on in this production, and the same cast that everyone has seen in Into the Woods and Mamma Mia make up the last show of our season.
Okay, so tell me who the characters are.
Sure, so we've got Billy Bigelow and Julie Jordan, the 2 time-tested classics, supported by Enoch Snow and Jigger Cragen and Carrie Pepperidge, and those roles are played by a lot of our newer actors to the season. We've actually only have 1 returning core company member this summer, so lots of new faces for anyone who hasn't been to the first 2 shows of the summer. But they're played by Wesley Hodges and Charity Means, both who played roles in Into the Woods. And then the supporting cast is Jordan Hand, who's one of our year-round core company members, and Desi Rodriguez and Jay Garner.
Okay, sounds great. So when can we come to see Carousel?
Absolutely. Carousel runs from July 24th through August 11th, and in the summer our schedule is a little bit different. We run, easy for me to say, we run Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night at 7:30, and then Sunday afternoons at 2 p.m. And there are 14 performances of this show because on Saturday, August 3rd, we are taking Mamma Mia down to the band shell as part of the True North Radio Network series as we have for the past 3 years.
That'll be so much fun.
Yeah, it always is. I'm especially excited with Mamma Mia because the last few years we've had just over 2,000 patrons, and I think that with Mamma Mia we might push 3. So we're excited.
Wow, that's exciting. So how do you adapt it to the stage there?
Sure. So 4 years ago we started doing our middle show in the summer as a concert version, not with the intention that we were going to start touring it, but as good plans often lead, we certainly have. So what we do is we keep all of the actors on stage, and we are always donated the use of about 25 chairs from the Aplex, so they definitely deserve a shout out. They've been such great partners with us through this whole project, and what happens is with all the actors staying on stage, it's a much more intimate and much more inclusive production. And we use very minimal props and sets and costumes so that we're really focusing on the story. And especially with Mamma Mia, it's a story about these women who are strong and empowered and don't have men in their lives. And the lead character, she's looking to find her father as she's about to get married. And all of our favorite music from ABBA. We picked a lot of familiar songs for this summer season. And it's just, it's a wonderful opportunity. And the core company is so talented this summer. Coming again from all over the country, professional young actors who are either in musical theater programs or just graduated from musical theater programs. And it's a very diverse group as well. So we're very, very excited to share the talents of this core company for just a few more weeks.
Good. And with Brown Trout Festival in town, perfect timing for families who are coming to visit, for everyone to get together and come and see Carousel.
Yep, Carousel is a wonderful production for the whole family. It is a little bit darker. It deals with, some more mature themes, but the music and the dancing, and it's funny, and it's, it's not lighthearted, but, it's got its moments of brevity. It's got its moments of emotional depth and texture. So it's a good one to bring the kids and the whole family out to.
Okay, so what's next at Thunder Bay Theater?
What's next? Oh my goodness, we are kicking off the school year with The Marvelous Wonderettes Caps and Gowns. It's a sequel to what we did 2 falls ago, which is very exciting. And then we have Macbeth. And then we are doing Godspell with our local high school group. But one of the most exciting things about this fall is that we just recently set up an arrangement with the principal at the high school where Thunder Bay Theater is going to have a satellite office at the high school.
Wow.
So we're going to have one of our staff members at the high school 3 hours a day supporting the theater students, making sure that we're available and able to support them with their Maskers Club, help them write grants, help them plan for the shows, help them with other educational opportunities, and we're so excited to do that and continue all of our educational programming.
And since you've come to Alpena, Jeffrey, that was one of your goals, to integrate the theater into the community, and you've done an amazing job of that.
Thank you. I just, you know, the arts is so important, as is everything. But, you know, unfortunately, in a lot of communities, not just Alpena, the arts is often pushed to the side because it's hard to really see the result because, you know, we don't have robots, we don't have sports trophies, you know, we don't have those things to really tangibly show our success. But the soft skills that we're developing in young students and the way that we're encouraging them to open up their minds and improve their creativity is immeasurable. So we're excited that the school and Alpena Public Schools from top to bottom is so supportive of the work we're doing and impacting their students.
Yay, and your beautiful new lobby.
Oh, it's amazing. It's wonderful. It's breathtaking. And if people haven't come out and seen it, there's no time like the present, especially to come and see Carousel. We're so proud of the way that our community supported us and so humbled by that we just want to celebrate and share it with everyone.
Okay, so how do we get tickets for Carousel?
www.thunderbaytheater.com, theater with an R-E at the end of it. Everything's on there. Or call the box office, 989-354-2267. You got it. Our hours are 12:30 to 4:30, Tuesday through Saturday. So Adrian will be waiting with bated breath to talk to everybody who wants to come and see Carousel.
Well, with Mamma Mia selling out and with Carousel coming right behind it, I think you're going to have a full house again.
I think so too. Yeah, everybody. You know, there's just something really special about having a professional theater in a small community like Alpena, and the community is so supportive. It's always so humbling. You know, the summers are when we have the most people here, and they prove that with our ticket sales. So so we look forward to seeing everybody for Carousel.
And you have such a great cast and crew.
Thank you.
Everyone's so wonderful. So what about volunteers? Do you still have a need for volunteers?
As always, yeah. We actually just announced an advisory board for Thunder Bay Theater. So maybe we have some volunteers who are watching the program who have always wanted to be involved but have been a little bit afraid of joining the board of directors because of the time commitment and things like that. Our new advisory board is only going to be required to meet 2 times a year, but be supportive on social media, bringing their friends to the shows, helping out with fundraising events, because obviously as the theater continues to grow, we need to make sure that our operating budget reflects that, and so that we can provide a high quality of life for our educators and for our young professionals that are teaching all of the young people in this community. So if anybody's interested who's watching, an advisory board is now in the works and ratified for the organization. So lots of new ways to become a volunteer at Thunder Bay Theater as well.
Okay, 354-2267.
You got it.
Thanks for being here, Jeff.
Thanks as always.
Please stay tuned. Katie Wolf will be right back with me from Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary. Hi, welcome back. I'm with Katie Wolf from Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary. Good morning, Katie.
Good morning, Nancy.
I just want to congratulate you and everyone at Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary for the wonderful Maritime Festival. I've heard nothing but rave reviews, record crowds, new events, and everything went wonderful.
It really was a very special year. I mean, just kind of perfect harmony, and it was just so fun walking around and hearing all the different types of music and seeing all the different families interacting and so many water activities. It was really fun.
And you had 32 entries in the chalk art contest.
Yes,
amazing.
Isn't that something for our first year? And we had so much fun working with Thunder Bay Arts. It was a really special event. Lots of people came up and said, "You're going to do this again next year, aren't you?" So I had to make sure that happens.
And the cardboard boat regatta, I didn't see it, but I understand it was so fun.
It was a blast. It was.
So much laughter and so many people and so much fun.
It was, and it still, you know, it gathers the crowds, and it really, people just get a big kick out of watching all the boats basically sink.
Okay, well today we want to talk about the Sanctuary Lecture and Cinema Series because it's another wonderful event that you're bringing to our community, and this is just some really, really good things for people to see.
It is. I think we have been so gratified and pleasantly surprised by the community's reaction to the cinema and lecture series, and it's really fun how many people from, you know, all different types of people come, and the lectures are great, but then the question and answer afterwards, it just takes it to a whole nother level. I mean, I'm surprised that people stay there till the last question is answered. It's really fun.
So start me out with July 25th. That looks like a good one.
It is. I can't wait to see or listen to this one myself. So we're going to have Charles Beaker, and he is from Indiana University, and he's going to talk about Captain Kidd in the golden age of piracy. So it's not a Great Lakes shipwreck, but Captain Kidd, he was William Kidd, he was from England, and he was in the Dominican Republic area in the seas, and captured a ship that was called the Kita Merchant. It was an Indian merchant ship.
Okay.
And it was full of treasures. And so what his thought was that he would capture it and then he'd use the treasures to pay back those who supported his exploration. So he was going to head to New York. At that time it was a colony, and give some of the treasures to the governor there and then take the rest back to England. Well, it created such a stir for England because then people were no longer trusting him because they saw him as a pirate. So he ended up being arrested and imprisoned. But before he was captured, he had some other merchants. He paid them to guard the ship so that he could come back. So then the governor of New York sent some people down to the ship, and by then the other merchants had already pilfered what was there, burned the ship, and it sank. And so and that was in 1699. Wow. So it was not found again until December 2007.
Wow.
And so Charles Beaker, part of the program that they have started at Indiana University is called Living Museums at Sea. And the goal is to share the history, but also to encourage sustainable tourism and ecology. And so this is one of the ships in the collection that they have in the Dominican Republic area. So this particular ship was found off the coast of Catalina Island.
Wow, in so many years, and is it still in good shape? Or?
Well, you know, I think it's you can still identify the ship.
Okay.
I don't think the treasures were left around for very long.
Sure.
But it is an interesting thing, you know, to go back to those days where, you know, obviously in Captain Kidd's mind, he was doing his country a favor, but it ended up not having those results.
Ooh, yuck. Okay, then August 8th and 9th.
August 8th and 9th. So August 8th, we have a very special treat for people. If you have ever heard Mary Stewart Adams speak, she's amazing. I've heard her a couple times. She's been at Negwagon. She was with the International Dark Sky Park. And so she is a star lore and historian is the way she frames it. But she has an understanding of the constellations and the stories and the folklore that go around it like no one I've ever heard. I'm just fascinating to listen to. So we're going to have her on the Lady Michigan. This particular event, most all of our events are free, you know, and open to the public. This will be a ticketed $40 event.
Okay.
And so on August 11th is considered the 7th moon in the Chinese calendar year.
Okay.
And then the 7 days following that, each day has a sacred meeting. So she's going to weave that into explaining the constellations of the night sky at that time.
Ooh, that'll be great.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun.
Okay, next.
So the next one will be really cool, especially for everybody, but for teachers and kids as well. August 14th, there's a program that's called NOAA Teacher at Sea.
Okay.
And this particular teacher is from Dearborn, Michigan.
Okay.
His name is Stephen Cady.
Okay.
And he's going to talk about his work on one of the NOAA research vessels working with sharks. So it's going to be all about his experience working with sharks and how you can bring that back home and, you know, share it with as an educational tool.
Okay.
So that'll be really cool.
Okay, so we don't have to bring the shark home.
Yeah.
August 22nd.
So August 22nd, we go back to our cinema series, and it's Lake Invaders, and it's how invasive species have threatened the Lake Huron in the fight to bring Lake Huron back. It is, I wish this film was required viewing for everybody who lives in the Great Lakes. It's an incredible film. It has so much information, and the resource, it does a great job of talking to long-term experts, but as well as recent young researchers and kind of the passing the torch to protecting our Great Lakes.
Wow, that sounds good. We have about enough time for you to tell us about the kids' summer programs.
Okay, so we have our ROV program going on. That's the underwater robotics building program for children. So you can drop in. That's going on Wednesdays and Saturdays, pretty much every Wednesday and Saturday through August, with the exception of Labor Day weekend.
Okay.
So, you know, parents, grandparents, caregivers can come by with their kids and build an underwater robot and test it in the tank. So that's going on. And then we have two other programs. We have a shipwreck discovery program going on from July 29th through August 2nd.
Okay.
and all the details are online. And then we have another program happening in Science in the Sphere, and that's the theater that we have in the sanctuary where it's projected on a sphere, and that's called The Perfect Porridge, Earth, the Goldilocks Planet. And so it really explores why Earth, why, you know, does Earth have all the life on it? What made it so special? So it's a pretty cool program too.
Okay, we're out of time. How do people find out about all these things?
ThunderBayFriends.org. The schedules are all there, more details, and you can even purchase cruise tickets if you like.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Katie.
Thank you.
Please stay tuned for Dr. Don McMaster following these messages.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Dr. Don McMaster. I'm president of Alpena Community College, and I'm pleased to have as our guest this morning Don LaBar, adjunct archaeology instructor at ACC. And Don, you put together an amazing class here this summer. And we talked about it a couple weeks ago, but the class, the field part of the class is done. Could you give the viewers, maybe who didn't see the first episode, what you were, where you took the students and why?
Yeah, of course. So we took a total student class of 6 students, including myself as an instructor, and then we also had Wayne Lusardi, who works for the DNR as a state maritime archaeologist. And so we went out to a site kind of close to Chippewa Hills Trail area, and back in 1976 in September, KC-135A Stratotanker, which primary mission was refueling and transporting troops from base to base, was on kind of just a routine, taking some military officers over, you know, downstate from the UP area. It was picking up officers that were going to go to SAC to be actually promoted. So the whole crew was high-ranking officers and such. And unfortunately, due to potentially pilot error or crew error, it unfortunately, because of weather conditions and maybe some other small mechanical factors, ended up crashing in that area right before it got to Wordsmith. And so the DNR, because it's now laying in state DNR land, you know, Wayne's been kind of monitoring it, and this was one of the first opportunities that the state and ACC has been able to amass a kind of a small field project with students to give them a hands-on experience, but also kind of teach them what kind of the daily life of being a DNR officer, especially on the archaeological side, would be like, and what kind of sites they do check out and monitor what's going on with the site and the degradation of it.
Wonderful. Very great, very accurate explanation. I had the great pleasure of going out with you on one of the days to the site, and I don't think it's easily conveyed how deep a swamp site that it is.
Yeah.
It's correct me if I'm wrong, it's you go out all the way to the end of Nicholson Hill Road, and then it's back in about maybe 45 minutes or so by walk. Yeah. And that's where the plane crashed, and that's where you folks took your class to.
Yeah. We were taking the ACC Ban on that road, and you behind me kind of scared me a little bit. I was like, oh, here we go. But yeah, it's a bit of a trek to get back there, and that's a good thing and a bad thing if you're looking from an archaeological standpoint. You know, what's great about the fact that it is so inundated is that a lot of the materials that are there are not being taken away from the site that we know of. You know, you went out there, you know, you're expecting this, from the stories, you're expecting this just massive debris field, and it's really not. I mean, that's how, you know, how much that vegetation's taken back everything, things that have been taken back when the Air Force went out there, and then later, supposedly a private kind of scrapping company came out and salvaged some of the aluminum, because that, you know, aircraft grade aluminum fetches a fair price back then. So there was a couple people looking at it for that standpoint. But yeah, definitely its location, it's not really easy to get out there, and you really have to have a GPS and know where you're going, or else you'll never find it on your own. And that's a good thing, because it makes it so that not everyone's going out there and moving stuff around, which is awesome. But you know, there's also a lot of talk from some people that were involved, whether it's, you know, family members and such of the deceased, or the survivors, or first responders that are interested in working with the DNR and proposing the idea of maybe putting a trail out there. The weather and the environment there, as you know, is pretty difficult, so maintaining that trail and cutting that trail will take a little bit of effort, and will be probably a little while before we start seeing something like that happening.
I was impressed and inspired, really, by the GPS work you folks were doing out there, your students were doing, and Wayne was doing, and amazed at the technology.
Yeah.
He would be in the middle of just the deepest, thickest, swampiest area, and could look at his GPS and say, there's a part within a 20-foot circumference here.
Yeah.
And there it would be.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was kind of the biggest thing for us, was the reason, the study of it. What we were really trying to do is, Wayne had been out there previously and marked certain GPS points that he found for the state, and so he was very forthcoming with providing that with the ACC, and being able to go, hey, let's go refine these marks and see if we can find anything else. It's kind of like a needle in the haystack scenario a little bit, but it's important because now we can start to understand the overall layout of the site. Where are we finding materials? Where are we finding concentration of materials? What do we think that material is? When you were out there with us, you were asking, oh, what do you think that piece is? And the students go, it's such a small aluminum piece that you really kind of have to use your brain and do a lot of study to make sure you know kind of the organization, how the overall site might be laid out. So the GPS is amazing. You go 10 feet from someone else, you don't see them. So that GPS is really important for us to be able to know where we are, where we're finding these things. And in the future, if those items move, we now know where they're moving from, where we marked them, and then we later incorporate it into a GIS system, which we did with Jim Burles and Wayne too.
Yeah, wonderful thing. A lot of learning in a lot of transferable areas. We got about 2 minutes left. We could go on. But part of the class was the involvement of Al Rotz, who was the first responder, as I understand it, to the site after the crash happened. Al happens a very well-respected guy. He's father of 2 of our faculty, Tim and Scott. But what was the students' reaction to Al's memory of that event?
I think it was pretty impactful. I'm a real big component of, archaeology is great. The sites we do are great. But sometimes it's hard to convey over the importance of these sites until you have that human story or aspect attached to it as well, that there's an experience here, someone saw things, some experience that event. And so having Al out there as the very first responder, he was the first person to see the 5 survivors, the 15 dead, the smoke, the flames, everything. It was really special and important for us to have him out there. It's one of the first times we've been able to talk with him as a group and such. And for the students, it's really important because you can talk about it all you want in class, but when you're actually sitting out there in the site and Al's just going through it and talking about how it happened, what he remembers, how it worked, how it operated, who responded, his impressions, what he was upset about, what he wasn't upset about. It really connects the why part of what we do, because I had a lot of students come out and like, wow, that was really cool, like hearing him talk about what he saw and such. And he talked about a bunch of his different experiences, but definitely focused on the KC-135. So it was just really interesting. He's also a huge component of keeping the flags up and the memorial sign. He takes care of that area. He keeps in communication with the families of the deceased and also the survivor and their families. So he's a big component in the 30th anniversary, if you want to call it, and also the 40th that just happened as well. So he's kind of become a steward of the site as well, which is awesome.
That is awesome. Don, thank you for your efforts in getting the students out there. We appreciate it. I think there was a lot of learning that happened there.
Yep.
And thank you folks for watching Talk of the Town. We'll see you again next week.
This has been Talk of the Town with your host, Nancy Smitham and Dr. Don McMaster. For a list of community events taking place in Northeast Michigan, please visit our website at wbkb11.com and click on our community link. This has been a Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation production.